This just may be one of the most important videos I've ever posted on my channel, and it's about the reason why most beginner Amazon sellers either get discouraged or even quit selling on Amazon. And today's topic is price tanking, and that's where you expect to sell a product at a certain price, and by the time your product is available to sell, it's dropped all the way to a break-even price or even losing a few dollars per item. And I know that can be super discouraging even to more experienced sellers. I've had it happen to me a bunch where you buy a product expecting to sell at a certain price, it all of a sudden tanks, and then you get all discouraged and scared to buy more inventory because you don't know if it's going to tank or not. By the end of this video, I hope you are able to detect through the Keepa charts whether or not a product is going to tank before you even purchase it. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and let's jump right into the video. Now, before we get into anything else, we need to understand what makes a product tank in the first place. One of the biggest reasons why products tank is because of supply and demand. When the demand doesn't change, which is the sales rank of a product, and the offer count goes up, which is the supply, one thing has to go down, and that's going to be price. So if we see an increased supply without the increased demand, the price is most likely going to be affected in the negative direction. That has got to be one of the biggest reasons why any product is going to tank. So now that we know what causes a product to tank, what data do we need to look at to avoid buying any of those types of products? I'm going to show you two different examples, and hopefully both of them give you a great understanding of what causes products to tank in price. Okay, so I'm going to go into a couple different products. The charts look similar, but not quite the same. So hopefully I'll break down each of these for you so you have a better understanding of how prices tank and how to avoid them. So we have this Nike Dry Fit short here. We're gonna look at the Keepa chart and break down what the chart means in its current state. All right, so I have my cutoff back in April because we're gonna look at what happened in the future here, but we can see that a pretty steady price that we're seeing is about $28, right? And the offer count is sitting at above 60, right? We're looking at 67, 70, somewhere in that range. When the offer count starts to drop, right, because this thing has high demand, it's selling really well. We can see that the rank is below 400, which sells a ton in literally any category. So we can see that because the supply is dropping and the demand is really high, that means the price is most likely going to go up. So we see that, right? We see when the offer count gets below 20 here, we're looking at anywhere from 15 to 17. We can see the price does hit a high of $45.99. That's really high compared to what we've seen in the past, which is below $28. So what you want to understand is when you're looking at the current price, you want to go back in the history and look when the offer count was higher, what was the price at? Now, the price doesn't automatically have to go back to older levels based on the offer count, but that's a good metric of looking what could we see potentially if the offer count does hit old levels. So if the offer count gets back up to that 60 or 70 range, we should expect to see prices maybe close to that $28. Maybe it won't go that low, but it'll get at least close to that, right? So are we profitable? Maybe we're super profitable at 45, but we want to double check, are we any bit profitable at this $28 or are we losing money? If we're losing money, maybe it's worth a test buy or just avoiding altogether. But let's zoom out and look at the current data and what happened to the chart after this offer count went up. So as you can see, we're looking at that $45 price slowly started dropping as the offer count shot up. We got all the way to 150 sellers on this listing. And we can see the price did drop all the way down to as low as that $30, right around $29, $30. So the offer count actually blew past what the old level was, but the price didn't quite get down to that $27, $28. But that was a great metric to know that when the offer count is pretty high compared to what it's normally at, that we should see prices drop all the way down to around that $30 or maybe even lower. So one of the most important aspects of analyzing this data right here is why did the offer count go so high, right? If the offer count stayed low like this and you found this, great, then you're probably gonna see prices of $45 stick around a lot longer. But we need to understand and do some research. Why did the offer count go from 20 all the way to 150 in a matter of 2 weeks? A big part of these offer counts going up and down is how easy is this product to find. Let me repeat that again. The offer count fluctuates based on how easy the product is to find, right? If it's out of stock at every site, in which it probably is here, or it's at least not profitable on the sites it is available, then the offer count is going to stay low. People aren't buying this product if it's not profitable. Once it goes on sale or it's really easy to find at a major retailer, then we should expect the offer count to go up. Now, we don't ever really know how much the offer count is going to go up or where it's going to finally peak out at, but if it's such an easy find and the discounts are really easy to find for that product, we should expect that the offer count is going to go up. And what do we know from the history of this chart? When the offer count goes up, the prices tend to drop. So if you're finding this at these low levels, just really understand how easy was it for you to find this product profitably. If others are going to find it profitably, if other sellers, VAs are going to find it really easily, then maybe it's something you want to avoid, or at least do a small test buy so you don't get burned buying tons of product on a product like this, where now you were sitting where you were maybe going to make $7 to $10 profit here to losing $2 to $3 when your product checks in and is available to sell down at $30. This aspect is so important, and it's going to play into the next chart that we look at. The next product is something similar. We're just going to look at this quickly to reiterate my point on the last product, but the offer count was around 18 for a while. That price was pretty consistent actually at $52. When the offer count goes down, we're below 10 at this point. We can see some people getting the buy box around $65, which is much higher than that $52, the $13 increase. So what things should we look for if we're looking to buy at this time frame, right? This is still a couple weeks ago. So what should we look for if we're finding this at a store profitably? What profits are we going to make at $65? And if this thing were for some reason to tank all the way down to $52, are we still profitable, or are we at least break even? So if the price does tank, we're not actually losing a bunch of money. Well, let's zoom forward and see what happens to the actual price. So as you can see, the offer count shoots way up. We blow past the 18 historical sellers, and we see almost 40 sellers on this listing. And of course, the price reacts negatively, as it should, because again, the demand actually did go up a little bit, because we were at a 2000 rank back here, and now we're looking at, a sub 400 rank, which is really good. But the supply increased faster than the demand did, so the price is going to be negatively affected. Now, unfortunately, if you were profitable at $65, being profitable at $48 is going to be really tough. So most likely you lost money on a product like this. Again, when you're finding this product around this range here and you're expected to sell this at $65, how easy was this product to find profitably? If other sellers are going to find this thing profitably, most likely they're going to buy as well. So can you predict that the offer count is going to go high enough where the price will drop to old levels? And if you're not profitable at old levels, you probably shouldn't be buying this product. So the last product that we're going to look at actually doesn't have a super big effect to the offer count going up and down correlated to the price going up and down. So we're looking at a Tupperware set here. We can see that when the offer count is really low, we see this price nice and high at $60. The price does slowly start to drop all the way down till we see a price of that $47. But we can see that the offer count went from 1 all the way to 8, and then it sat pretty level at 8. But why did the price start to go down when no offers increased on the listing over this time frame here? We can see that the price went from $55 all the way to $48 without an offer count going up even once. So why does this happen? This type of price tanking is a little bit harder to predict because there isn't a huge swing in the offer count to justify why the price is going down. But we have to think in other terms of why are these other sellers lowering their price when there's not more competition? Certain times sellers are going to get anxious that their product isn't selling, or that they're not getting the buy box share all that often, even if there is only 8 sellers on the listing. So when some of those sellers, especially the newer sellers, when they're not getting the buy box share, they get anxious, they get nervous that their product isn't going to sell, and they start to lower their price. You only need a couple sellers for that to start a snowball effect of the price going downward, and they're all battling for that lowest price. You can see here, one seller got the buy box at 55, and then it went all the way down to 54 in the next day without any real reason for that price to drop over $1. That is most likely because, like I said, a seller is going to get anxious, they're not getting the buy box, so they're going to drop their price drastically to try to trigger the buy box to give them some share of it. By the end of this snowball, we see prices bottom out all the way at $48. It's looking like there is still a little bit of dropping happening, even with the offer count not really doing a whole lot of change. So again, this type of tanking is a little bit harder to predict, but what we want to look into on a product like this is this thing still selling? Are different sellers getting the buy box share, and are different sellers actually selling out of their product? We can look at the data offers tab and actually see, are sellers still selling a good amount of this product? Now it looks like a lot of people are dropping their price to continue to sell the product, which maybe now they're not as profitable as they used to be, but there are still sellers that aren't getting sales, or at least look to not getting sales from that offers tab. So people are going to get anxious and drop their price slowly. So a product like this, if we're seeing it at $59 and we bought it, there's not much we can do when the offer count only goes up a couple and then the price starts to drop over time. The best thing you can do on a listing like this is to get out of your inventory and then wait to see what happens to the price action in the future. If some of those price tanking sellers sell out of their stock and they forget about the product because it has dropped too much for them to be profitable, maybe the price will still continue to go back up again when some of these sellers sell out of their stock. and then it is actually worth getting into again in the future. So again, keep an eye out on a product like this. You might be able to buy it in the future profitably again when some of those price tanking sellers get off the listing. All right, so now that you understand what causes products to tank, what data to look at to avoid buying those types of products, you should see your Amazon business start to increase its profits, avoid losing those profits when prices tank, and your Amazon business is going to flourish because of it. Again, you can't predict the future, so some things still might tank even if the chart looks good, but just know that if you can avoid buying most of the products that are going to tank, your business is only going to scale that much quicker. If you guys found this information helpful, please subscribe to the channel. It would help me out a lot, and I'll see you in the next video.